Okay, here we go. This is Garrett. I want to make another video. This is going to be a hardcore sexual topic. So this is your little warning. If you get embarrassed, the same old warning I always give. If you're sensitive type of a Christian, maybe don't watch this video. If you get embarrassed easy, if you're not interested in learning about God and God's connection to sexuality, maybe turn the video off. But for those of you who are, let's continue. All right. This video is called I Can't Have an Orgasm. Is there hope for married Christian couples? Yes, there is. There is hope. Now, this video is going to be geared towards women, and I am a man. So, it's going to be vitally important that I don't overstep my boundaries and get involved in a discussion that I am not qualified to talk about. So, because I fear God, and because I love you, my Christian brothers and sisters listening to this, I'm going to be very, very, very careful not to get into a conversation about topics that I really don't understand. Or in other words, I am only going to talk about what God has taught me. That's all I want to talk about here, because I am a man, and yes, some men have this problem too, but this video is geared a little bit more to women. So here we go. There are about 4 billion women on planet Earth. 4 billion. Did you know that about 15% of them have never had an orgasm? 15%. 15% of 4 billion comes out to, it comes out to 600 million women have never had an orgasm. There are also men who battle this issue too, married men, married women. 600 women have never had an orgasm. And when you go on the internet to medical sites, and when you read some of the reasons why they claim some women can't have orgasms, here's a couple of the things that they mentioned. I think they were mentioning stuff like stress. Well, I might partially agree with that one. They were mentioning embarrassment. I would agree with that one. I'm going by first-hand knowledge right now. I'm not using guessing here. I'm going by what God has taught me. So yeah, I would agree with that one too. One of the things they stated was the way that the married couple was actually having sex was not allowing the woman to have an orgasm, and I would agree with that one too. I would agree with that one too. Now, let's get to the deeper issue here. I'm going to go quickly because we have another video that talks about this. So let's go quickly now. Who created our body? We know Jesus did. I'm going a little quicker on purpose. Who created our sexual attractions? Jesus did. He programmed it into us. Who created our sexual body parts? Jesus did. Who designed the orgasm? Jesus did. Who created the body parts to allow an orgasm to happen? Jesus did. If I was a man or a woman and I was having this problem, and by the way, I have experienced this before. I have. I'll tell some true stories when I'm done with the video. If I was a Christian man or woman and I was having this problem with my wife or my husband, what would Garrett do? Number one, I would talk to God in private about it. And I would have heart-to-heart talks with God about my body, about my sexuality, about why this is happening, and what would you like me to do about this topic? And Father, are you looking for me to change anything in my life? Number two, I would humble myself. Now, humbling yourself is always number one, but we're not putting them in order. Next, I would humble myself before Jesus and before his throne. And I would say, you are my Lord and you are my master. You're my best friend, Jesus, but you're also my King. You are the love of my life. You created my body. I want to humble myself more. I'm not sure why my body functions one way and not another. I'm not exactly sure. I humble myself before your throne. I'm sorry about the pride. I'm sorry about my ego. I bow down before your throne, and I would humble myself. If you're a Christian man or woman and you want to start seeking out Jesus on the topic of how come you can't have an orgasm, I would start by humbling myself and having long talks with God. Next, I would have a talk with my spouse. I would have a talk with my wife if you're a man, and I would have a talk with your husband if you're a Christian woman. And I would let them know what's going on and let them know you were approaching God, and I would get them involved in this topic in a positive, Christ-like way of seeking out God for different answers here. I would not keep this secret. I would not try to hide it. And I would not be faking orgasms in bed if you're a man or a woman. I would not be doing that, because now, you're actually lying to your spouse. You're actually tricking your spouse. You're deceiving your spouse all of these months when you're faking your orgasm. And now deception is in the marriage. And when your spouse finds out, you're going to hurt their feelings. And they're not going to trust you as much as they did before, because you just lied to them for 2 years by faking your orgasms. I would get your spouse involved in a positive, healthy, Christ-like manner. I would ask God to show you why this is happening. Is it happening because of psychological issues? Is it happening because of emotional issues? Or my husband and wife, my wife and husband, should we change the way we have our intimate time together? Are we moving too quickly in different parts of our intimate time together? I would seek out God to show you why while you humble yourself, because pride might possibly be one of the culprits here. I would humble yourself while you and your spouse seek out God together in a Christ-like way. What's going on with my body? You created my body. You designed my body. You gave me a wife. You gave me a Christian husband. I've been asking you. You gave me a spouse. We got married. Show me what to do. Show me what you want. You're my Lord. Show me what the issues are. Are they sexual? Are they psychological? Are they emotional? Now, will Jesus use a demon to prevent orgasms? Yes, he does. Yes. Ask God if this is a demonic problem. Ask him, is this a problem going back to my childhood? Is this a problem traced back to my mom and my dad? Is this a demonic attack? What do you want me to do? What should I do? How can I seek you out? Try to hear God on what to do. Trust God that he's going to talk to you and share these things with you and reveal to you what's going on with your body, knowing that demonic activity in the topic of having an orgasm or not having one is a major issue. Major issue. So, I'll finish up the video with a couple short true stories. Let's use myself first, being a man. Well, we have to watch our language, so I was meditating for 5 seconds right there. I remember times with my wife when we were being intimate together and I could not have one. And sometimes she might get a little bit tired and say, let's finish now. And I'd say, whoa, wait a minute now. That's not how the man's body works. Anyway, I'm not going into that topic. But that's not how the man's body, wait a minute now. Let's not quit so soon. Sometimes she might think something's wrong with her. She might think I'm not attracted to her. She might think it's her fault, when nothing could be farther from the truth. It's actually Jesus expressing his power and authority over your ability to have an orgasm, and I didn't know this back then. So I got to watch my language, but when I'm with my wife, we would keep trying. I would keep trying. Let's end the true story right there. So, yes, I have experienced this on a few occasions. Thank God this has not been a major issue in my life, but I have experienced this. I am qualified to make this video, if you know what I mean. Let's go with another true story. I remember when she couldn't have an orgasm. And there was some evidence this was traced back to her dad. Yeah, something in her childhood with her dad. I don't need to say any more. You Christians are smart and educated, and you know what I'm talking about. I want you to know I have a lot of experience being intimate with a woman who had a lot of trouble having orgasms. I have the experience to make this video. I will agree some women get embarrassed, and because they get shy and embarrassed, they can't have one. Sometimes the actual act of sex is not going to work for her to have an orgasm, and you got to talk with your wife and husband and change things up. You can't keep quiet. You got to speak up. You can't be shy. You can't be embarrassed. You got to have long, loving talks about the act of sex. You have to. I would be willing to say for women that alcohol can sometimes be a culprit, that some drug abuse, maybe smoking weed, can be a culprit sometimes in not being able to have an orgasm. I would be willing to admit from all of the years of experience I have that childhood trauma, possibly with your dad, with your, well, I mean, this is really sad. This is really bad. But sexual trauma with your brother, with your uncle when you were a little girl. I have experiences in this, and I would like to say yes, this can be a real psychological issue why you can't have orgasms. Now, to wrap this up, this can be a demonic spiritual attack. And if you don't believe me, I'm asking you to believe me. I'm asking you to ask God if you can believe Garrett. Let me say goodbye with a little pep talk. Jesus can snap his finger and you have an orgasm whenever he commands. Does God's Son do this? Yes. If you don't believe me, I'm sorry. If you don't think Jesus is involved in sexual activities of his chosen ones, keep studying. Keep studying. He's involved with you down to the microscopic level every single microsecond of every single thing you do. Humble yourselves, children of God, at God's throne. Hand Jesus your sexuality. Hand him your body. Hand him your orgasms. Hand him your sexual problems. Hand him your body, your private parts. Humble yourself. Follow the guidelines in this video so your sexual life with your wife and with your husband can get better and better with the grace of God. Follow the guidelines in the video. Okay. This is a worldwide problem. Don't be embarrassed. Seek out God and talk about this with your spouse. Okay. Don't hide it. Don't keep it secret. Talk about it with God. Talk about it with his son, Jesus. Talk about it with your spouse. And let's find out from God what is actually going on here. And let's get some deliverance started in your sexuality. Deliverance from God. Amen.